I'll speak about our work, and actually I'll follow up from what we presented last year in the previous ABC conference. So we're following a lot in terms of that. And we've seen a good fit with this theme, which is about business ecosystems, and perhaps some of the things that Daniel and John also discussed. So we will be discussing about blockchain ecosystems, and especially focusing in construction, and discussing about open or closed ecosystem. How open or closed is it? So as you all know, essentially in the next couple of minutes here, I will be discussing about our research setting and this open or closed blockchain ecosystem. Just a couple of things about me. As a background, I am an architect, trained as an architect, and I've developed a lot of interest in digital technologies, especially in BIM and blockchain. And also I seeked a lot of research. I did a lot of research on supply chains. So I was very interested in the previous presentation as well, and I'll try to bring some of these ideas back here. I'm an associate professor at UCL, and also I direct a new MSc in digital engineering management, where I'm developing leaders in this in digital transformation in construction and beyond. And I'm also involved with the Construction Blockchain Consortium, so it's great to be among friends here. Of course, we know that there is this increase in digitalization, which is taking all industries, changing all industries. And at the same time in construction, we have seen that there are so many different devices, better internet connectivity, better computer infrastructure. So if we are looking at all these changes, especially in our everyday life, and how our communication, for example, has changed due to COVID, how we're using all of these new opportunities, then we are looking at construction. And of course, we know that construction is very low at digitalization. We know that digitalization has to do with changing the business processes, making a business more digitally savvy, and essentially introducing all these digitalization opportunities across different parts of their internal processes. But at the same time, looking at the high-level industry view, we understand that, yes, of course, digital innovation has to do a lot with distributed agency, different stakeholders, different types of software, different expertises and disciplines. And at the same time, all these digital interactions become less predefined. But at the other hand side, we have construction that we know it's very fragmented. I think Daniel discussed a bit previously about the different processes and all this complexity across the industry. Construction is also very hierarchical. It has many different tiers. There's a tradition of essentially outsourcing risk across many different tiers. And of course, there is a lot of mistrust. So in terms of all these ideas, what we essentially tried to do with my team here was to look at the structure and the nature of digital innovation ecosystems. And of course, we took as an example construction, and at the same time, as a digital innovation to investigate, we looked at blockchain. So this is interesting of how a blockchain construction ecosystem can be organized. And of course, we know that blockchain has many different applications in other sectors. So we've seen good results in finance using blockchain in the utility, as a utility, and transactional, with a transactional focus. Of course, a lot of applications in logistics. I think John mentioned a few of them before, but also in healthcare or other sectors where they're looking and they're focusing on data interoperability and data integrity. And so blockchain as a digital ecosystem, one of the reasons why we chose blockchain for this study was essentially that blockchain, because it has to do with consensus of different computers when a transaction is submitted to the network and then the network validates that, then we thought it's an ideal technology to look and investigate in order to understand the digital ecosystem in construction. Because by definition, blockchain has to do with an ecosystem, a system of computers, a network of computers which are validating transactions. So that was the first motivation, if you like, of our work. And of course, we know there are different types of blockchain. So in our data set, I'll discuss a bit about our methodology and our findings. It was very important for the people that we were collecting data from to understand what type of blockchains we were talking about. And this is also what motivated my question before to John. So we have different types of blockchain, and it's important to understand that we have varying levels of access to blockchain, and also various ways that the validation takes place, or various ways that every blockchain is governed. And these are themes, these characteristics of blockchain, these are themes that came up a lot to our data and have shaped also our discussions. Our methodology was very qualitative. So what we were trying to do, we interviewed people from across a global sample, and we did a systematic thematic analysis and used a lot of deductive coding. And essentially our question was, how open or closed is the blockchain innovation ecosystem in construction? So we were trying to understand what our interviewees, which were expert interviewees, as you will see in a bit, thought about this phenomenon, how open or closed is the blockchain innovation ecosystem. So we interviewed around 24 people across the world, as I said. So they were from UK, European countries, US, and so on. And we selected them, so we were very selective. All these people had a lot of familiarity with blockchain. They were engaged in digital construction, so they were aware of different other digital technologies, and they had professional experience in that area. And half of them were also very actively engaging with developing blockchain applications. So we really tried to find very hard to find experts in the field to give us a very good report on this question that we had posed. So now I want to speak a bit about the theory that had shaped this and also our analysis. So we looked at open innovation theory. So open innovation is essentially a paradigm that says that companies can benefit and get great business results by opening up their firm boundaries and essentially tapping into knowledge of other companies, expertise of other companies, or other resources outside their firm, essentially either using other firms' R&D or using other type of research that is open access, for example, in order to make profit out of it, and creating a transformation in their business model in order to adjust and utilize all these new opportunities, using also external ideas and trying to profit not only from their own IP, but also outsourcing their own IP to other companies so that they can license it and make profit out of that. So open innovation as a paradigm, we thought that it has a very good fit with the ideas of blockchain. As I said, because of having this network of computers who are reaching the consensus, there's a lot of research pointing us toward that direction, that blockchain can stimulate open innovation and can create this opportunity to share value among different community members. And of course, this is something that the CBC is also doing, Constructing Blockchain Consortium is also doing. And so let's move quickly to our findings that were actually quite surprising for us. So if you see here in this table, so I'll stay a couple of minutes in this table. If you see on the left-hand side column of this table, these are the main areas of open innovation principle, as I mentioned before. So you see some of them, there are 6 of them. The principles, quickly, it's about human resources, R&D, commercialization, business models, idea creation, and IP. So these were the main 6 ideas I discussed before. And you see now on the second from the left column, this is essentially the agreement that our experts had as to what extent blockchain innovation can align with open innovation principles in construction. And the two main surprising findings were that in the business model, so fourth row from the top, not all the interviewees agreed that this was something very mature in construction. So essentially, they didn't see the need. Some of them saw the need that businesses need to align with the technology in terms to using open innovation, but also a lot of them, more than 40% of them, said that the construction projects and this very traditional business model of construction didn't allow for blockchain applications to be fully utilized in this, following this open innovation paradigm. And also another very striking finding from this study was that with regards to IP, most of the respondents actually didn't think that construction has this sharing culture to share their IP with others, or also profit from other companies' IP. So this is also something, this sharing culture, it's also something, a limitation, if we can say, around blockchain and how it can fully utilize the benefits of open innovation paradigm. So moving to the last slide. Essentially, our key findings from the study was that open innovation in construction is largely misunderstood, at least looking at blockchain, that is. Construction was found to be organized mainly around closed innovation. They understood the benefit of sharing knowledge, but most of the respondents, they evidenced that most of the companies, they don't want to share knowledge and their learnings and their data. At the same time, traditional business models do not allow for knowledge spillover. So essentially, because they don't share, companies, they can't learn easily from one another. A few emerging topics and ideas that came from the data, and of course we need to make more research to validate these two ideas, was that in transforming the construction's business model, essentially blockchain allows for a more improved and protected role of the SMEs, of the small, medium enterprises. Essentially, a lot of respondents, they focus on the SMEs and they said, oh, they will be more visible using blockchain in construction projects. So this is a new idea, it needs further investigation. And another one was that our interviewees were talking about the government, the role of government or large contractors, that they may play an orchestrator role in these blockchain ecosystems. So they're looking at some orchestrators' role that could be either in closed or semi-open innovation in order to lead this transformation going forwards.